This episode is brought to you by Hike for Mental Health. Share the joy of hiking, bring hope to those battling mental illness. Go to hikeformentalhealth.org to donate or volunteer today.
Oh, he sounds like a robot, a broken robot.
Poor Reptar.
No particular topic or anything tonight.
This is our 50th episode, and we have neither topic nor guest.
Sounds good.
I'm going to text the other two and let them know we're doing this. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll see what those guys say. Couple of good questions popping up in the chat. Let's start with. I want to start with Booster. Booster says in an earlier episode, someone mentioned that they'd made all the mistakes starting out on their through hike and gave an example of bringing an 85-liter pack. I think was that the Walk in the Woods episode? Was that the one where? Oh dang it! I'm Nick Offerman threw the big 85-liter pack up on the countertop while he was pretending to work at REI. I think that was part of the joke there, that it was the 85-liter pack, and then they added like a 2-ounce trowel to save weight. The locals at REI suggested a 65-liter pack as optimal. What say the experts? Well, I don't think I'm an expert, but 65 liters seems like a good amount for like the beginning of a hike if you're going to be out in February or March with all the crazy people, because your winter gear is going to be bulkier and heavier. I think in the summer months I was getting by with, it's right across the room, I can see it but I can't reach it. I think it's like a 39-liter Gregory, because I think I wasn't even using a sleeping bag at the time. I was using a sleeping bag liner to sleep in at night, and I just didn't really need a lot of space. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to say what the ideal pack size is, because it really depends on what time of year you're hiking and where you're hiking, what the conditions are. If you want to take a 65-liter pack and remove the brain, somebody in the chat said they removed the brain from theirs, Gazelle. Too much pack is, I guess, better than not enough, right? Because, well, actually not really, because a large pack that's underloaded can be uncomfortable, and it can flop around and be kind of annoying. So, there is kind of an ideal weight, I'd say, or an ideal size. I'd say for a through hike, try to go as light as you possibly can in the colder months and shoot for a liter range in the mid 50s if you were going to do one pack for the whole thing. That's just my opinion. Fozzie, what do you think? You have anything to say on that?
Well, I was honestly about to say that I think my ideal pack size has always been 55 litres. That just seems right for me. I know there's a train of thought that you should buy sort of more than you need. The only problem with that is, as we all know, if you've got more space, you tend to fill it. Whereas if you're kind of like slightly less, you tend to sort of learn what you can get away with. But I suppose going slightly bigger by 10 litres would sort of make sense over what you need. But I mean, when I first started out, I had no idea how big my pack was. So I just bought everything else I needed first. And I think I took it all down the local hiking shop, and I said, I need to fit all that into a bag. And we found one, and that's kind of how I worked it out. It was a bit sort of convoluted, but I didn't know any better at the time. But I'd agree for something like a summer hike on something like, I don't know, the PCT or the AT. So you've got summer conditions. I always thought 55 was about right for me.
I do like that approach, though. Get all your gear first. Lobster in the chat says you will fill whatever size you pick. So if you shoot for a little smaller pack, you'll have to make ultralight choices. That's a good idea. Constrain yourself right from the beginning.
It's also easier, obviously, when once you've done it once and you've honed down what sort of gear you need. It's once you kind of nailed your literage. Is that an expression? Once
It
you
is
nailed
now.
your literage, then you kind of know for future. So even if you change your manufacturer or whatever, you still hopefully know that you've got 55 litres. Another interesting, I always thought the capacity of the bag was just the main compartment. I didn't realise it sound like a bit of an idiot, I suppose, but I never realised they took into account, like the side pockets and the mesh thing sometimes they have on the back of the pack. That all counts to the overall literage capacity.
Does it? No, and I'm not being facetious. I wonder, like if it's advertised as 55, do the little stretchy pouches on the outside where your water bottles would ordinarily go. That's a liter each. Does that count as?
I do believe it does. So, for example, if you had a 55-litre pack, if you look at the specs of the pack online and look at the main compartment, it'll be something like, I don't know, 37 litres or something. The mesh one the mesh outside pocket, the stretchy one that a lot of packs seem to have these days, that holds a hell of a lot of gear. You can get like a sleeping bag and a mat in there. It's huge on most packs and really stretchy. But I'm sure it makes up for the capacity figures. Yeah.
Gear that hangs from the outside of your pack also does not count towards your base weight. So try to clip as many things to the outside as you can. It's neither worn nor carried. So it's off the spreadsheet. It doesn't exist.
I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah,
I like your logic, Gary.
I'm aware of that.
that and put food in your shoes. I don't know. Hi, Voldemort.
Hi, how are you? Sorry about the tardiness.
Wonderful. Yeah. I love this text message exchange we just had.
Yeah, oops.
Yep. Let's see. Megan says, it says, whoops, took an accidental nap on the couch. Be right there.
Oh, rub it in more, don't you?
Oh, hey, I have only been getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night this week. I finally got home on time and I text Gary like a couple hours ago. I'm like, I'm on my way back from Massachusetts. I'm totally going to be on time. Got home, sat on my couch. I reclined just a little bit. Felt so good that I fell asleep.
You were having such a wonderful, relaxing evening at home, and then Stories from the Trail came along and ruined it all.
Gary's text messages ruined it all. Woke me up.
Again.
No, I'm glad to be here. Happy 50th episode.
Oh, yeah. Same to you. Congratulations.
Good job.
I don't think either of us have been on all 50 shows, though.
Definitely not.
No, I think I'm the closest. I think I've been on like 46 or 40, 47 of them. Something like that.
Probably.
Yeah, something like that. All right. So Gamera.
Okay, now I can hear you. Hi, Voldemort. I couldn't hear you. I can hear you now.
Oh, hi, Fozzie. Thanks for joining
Hello.
us.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back. Although I am still having sound problems.
No,
no, that's just our awkward silences.
It's cool. It's not awkward. I was typing, and I was distracted by the chat.
You were typing anything about Craig? Are we not using CraigBot today?
No, we're not. I kind of forgotten to use them the last couple times, and I don't want to get too much into the technical side of things. I'll save that for our how it's made video. But
great idea.
Yeah,
I'm not going to understand.
The way the bot works is kind of turned into a pain in the ass. I don't think I'm going to use it anymore. Oh, did you hear that?
No.
I don't know if my microphone picked it up. The house is shaking right now from thunder.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I love thunderstorms so much, especially the ones that shake everything. I don't know if that sounds sarcastic.
No.
Does that sound okay? Because it's very genuine. I genuinely love thunderstorms.
I think most people love, some people don't like thunderstorms, but I like a good
I don't even mind camping in thunderstorms. Like if I'm going to be camping, there better be a damn thunderstorm. In fact, these days I live in a city-ish, so I do sometimes get some road noise in my apartment, and I have this app called Calm on my phone, and it has like for white noises as well as like sleepy bedtime stories, like just a random story just read by someone with a very soothing voice to help you fall asleep. And my favorite is just the sound of thunderstorms. Sleep. That's what I do. Just some fake thunderstorms in my bedroom.
You know, I've actually... Go ahead.
I used to have it on CD just to show my age. I had a thunderstorm CD.
Do you plug in your little headphones that like the ones that go over your head?
I kind of like the noise to sort of fill the room, so I just kind of like, you know, played it on the CD player.
So this is like a boombox style CD player, like with speakers. And like the CD thing goes in the top, like you.
That's it, yeah.
Oh wow, nice. Is it a Discman brand?
I can't remember. I
don't even know if there was. I don't even know if that was a brand. Discman.
That as well. I mean, I remember cassettes as well, which is probably something you.
My first cassette tape was Spice Girls.
Oh nice. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Mine was Wham.
Is that a band?
Yeah. George Michael.
Stand for something?
George Michael?
Oh, I know of George Michael.
Okay, George Michael started out in a group called Wham with another guy called Andrew Ridgeley, early 80s. Anyway, that's my first cassette.
Isn't that a Canadian band?
No, they're English.
They are definitely English. I think my first... Am I allowed to say that my first cassette tape was a blank?
I guess so. Were you going to be like recording something? Were you the type to like buy a blank cassette tape and then you like record the radio so you could play the songs?
No, in fact, my first cassette tape was a blank cassette that I think my grandma had the tape recorder, and she would give it to me and my younger brother and my Aunt Nancy. And that was our form of entertainment, was that we would pretend, we would do just what we're doing right now. We would pretend that we had a talk show, and we would record my brother and myself interviewing Aunt Nancy. And those were our first tapes. We didn't, instead of listening to stuff, we made stuff. And we would make, we had a stack of, I'm going to one up your cassettes. And we had a stack of 45s and 8 tracks that we would, that we would play and pretend to be DJs. And then we would put on, like one side of the 45 and then interview Aunt Nancy for reports from the weather and stuff like that in between.
Reports from the weather. Oh my God. You were a nerd as a child, even. I love it.
Yeah. I also want to point out, before we get too far from this topic, that I think it's a sign that we truly do live in the future, that we made fun of Fozzie for being old fashioned because he still listens to his music with lasers.
No, that's not.
I forgot that's how that works.
You've been misinformed. There's an important bit you've taken out of that conversation. I used to listen to my music on CD, but I don't do it anymore. I have, I don't know if this is Wham's first single, but it's certainly one of their earliest ones. Do you want to listen to a quick peek?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hold on.
Yeah. I think... Oh, yeah, here we go. I think we have to talk over it so that YouTube doesn't give us a copyright violation. Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, that was the good part. I was just getting down.
I might play some later.
Wouldn't you? I thought you were going to go with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Which is in our chat right now.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone recognizes.
That's the one I know, but I didn't realize it was Wham. I'm just really bad at the like band names or artist names to the songs. I might know the song and all the lyrics, or at least, 50% of them, but I don't know who sang it, and I don't even know what decade it's from.
So pretty much just like being in the 80s.
Exactly.
God. Oh my God. Did you see Gamera's picture in the chat?
Holy
That's beautiful.
Shit. Wow.
Perms. My mom didn't let me get a perm.
Who is that in the picture with you? That's my wife just put a picture of her from the 80s in the chat.
Thankfully, I don't think I've got a picture from the 80s.
Oh,
available.
MG Gary, should we show everyone the picture of you
If you
from
have,
the
yeah,
80s?
if you have easy access to that photo, you should definitely put that up in the chat.
I'm gonna make that happen.
Yeah.
It's my contact photo for you. Just
So while you're looking for that, my first band, like first music that I wouldn't say I purchased because it was a birthday gift. I must have been 10 or 11 years old, and my mom got me for my birthday on vinyl the album Business as Usual by Men at Work. Do you remember them?
Yeah,
I know of Men at Work. I know of them.
Knocking at my door.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, that Men at Work.
Yeah, and I think so. The year that I turned, 10 or 11, whichever year that album came out. Okay, you had to have heard that one. That was another thunderbolt.
I heard
that shook the house. The year that album came out, I pretty much spent my entire 365 days just with headphones on in the in the room with the stereo, and it was on vinyl. So I had to stay close, and I had to get up and flip the thing in the middle, and if I danced too hard, it would make the record skip. But I've heard that album so many times on repeat that I can sing it from start to finish, including every drum fill and saxophone solo and guitar riff, and it's that one's been burned into my brain. What about the first?
That's what the funnest thing I think that I remember about cassette tapes was that I always knew what song was on next, and it was always like a game to try to rewind it to the beginning of the exact song that you want to listen to.
Do you remember the fancy tape players that would I guess they had some kind of sensor that would try to stop the tape for you, it could detect the silence between songs?
Nah, we were poor. We weren't that bougie.
I had one of those, Gary. I know exactly what you're talking about. I even remember what the it was called, the ANSS or something, automatic. No, that was always an automatic noise suppression system. I can't remember what the search thing was, but I know exactly what you mean. You had to push it twice, I think, didn't you, or something?
Yeah, it was some weird thing like that. We were poor too. What did you say? Bouge? Did you say bouge?
I said bougie.
Bougie, is that millennial speak for bourgeois? Bourgeois? Is that what you're saying?
Bougie is it means fancy AF, which is that's current speak.
Are we past
fancy?
Extra?
AF is current.
Are we past extra?
We might be starting to move past extra, but bougie isn't extra. Extra is superfluous without a reason. Bougie is just classy.
I like
but
bougie. I like it. It kind of sounds like the name you give to a cute fluffy cute fluffy dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you named a dog bougie, it would probably have to be a white or a small white fluffy toy dog.
It's got to have
with an attitude, with a pink collar that probably has a tiara or some stupid shit like that.
I was going to say something sparkly on that dog.
Definitely sparkles, maybe some studs. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, bougie, the root word is bourgeoisie, which, I mean, if you went to high school, I think you know what that means, right?
If you paid attention in high school.
Paid attention in high school. I don't think I have to define that one.
If you went to high school before public education was defunded, you know what that word means.
Yeah, and if you don't, try Googling it and spelling it out. Good luck.
And that dog with the little pink collar and the sparkly tiara has a boombox with auto reverse. It's so...
Yeah, it does. That dog is bouge AF. Not to completely divert the conversation, but I do want everyone who is in the chat right now to please look at the photo I just posted of Gary.
Oh yeah, that
thing.
Was
Gary?
From the 80s with the pink polo.
Oh, I was looking at the
jacket and then the very, very blonde mullet. Blonde? That's not your natural color, is it?
I was looking at the photo underneath of what I presume is a girl with the white top on, and it looks like a bed, and I thought, that's Gary?
Oh, that's a cute gazelle.
Here, I'm gonna give you one more.
That's an interesting photo. Classic 80s haircut, I must say. Perfectly, perfectly
it's
There we go.
executed.
and you like
That's
the
a-
stare, the very serious like.
Oh,
So this every time Gary calls me, this is the photo that pops up on my phone, and it is. Dang.
is that's got to be
Oh
the band
God,
interview
Gary, that's you.
photo, sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
that one
that's
too.
I mean that's from the same photo shoot that the other one is from.
Yeah, because
That's
it was
just-
a photo shoot.
in this one the jacket is off.
Oh, you can see the
So-
full pink. It's actually not a polo. It's a button up.
It is a button up. I like the kind of the slight snarl. Can you see that on the mouth there? He's kind of snarl.
Oh yeah. He's saying, "I know I look."
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I'm
He said,
really
I think dope back in the 80s meant drugs, and now dope means like cool.
I was
For those
uh,
for those who are, different, we're targeting different age groups here. We got to make sure we tell everyone what everything means,
Oh wait, do you know what? I have got a photo somewhere from the. No, it's not from the 80s. I haven't got any photos from the 80s.
rad
I can do.
is the
I can
look
do
I was
91.
going
Does
Rad?
that count?
Yeah, rad. That's rad.
Something fun about the 80s.
Go on.
I wasn't even around.
No way.
Yes way. Born in 92. I wasn't even alive in the 80s.
Shit, you missed like the best decade. What were you thinking?
I don't know. I was stubborn. I was the egg that didn't want to drop. I was just I was comfortable.
Love
Like
the
that one,
80s.
Gary?
That's really funny. Oh,
Funny thing about the 80s was you didn't realise. I didn't think it was that good at the time, but kind of looking back, it was a cracking decade.
But I'm from Maine, so I like to think that I would kind of experience the tail end of the 80s, at least a little bit maybe, because Maine is pretty much like 10 years behind everything else as far as pop culture goes.
so glad
Probably would have got the hairstyles filtering through from the 80s into the early 90s. I think that took a while to
My
change.
mom had like some kind of 80s-ish do around the time that she was pregnant with me, so I would say so.
And Gary, did you manage to come into the 90s with that haircut there?
Wow. I came into the 90s with a buzz cut. I joined the Marine Corps in 1990.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of those beautiful golden locks, brought to you by Peroxide, were soon.
I knew it wasn't real.
Oh fuck no, that's not my
Natural color.
Nobody's hair is that color.
Really? Peroxide? Did you like DIY at home?
So I started, I think probably two years prior to that photo, I began experimenting with peroxide. I wasn't pleased with the results.
Sounds like a drug. I began experimenting with peroxide.
You don't want to do
And Gary,
Wait, you mean you're not supposed to snort it?
that.
oh goodness. Okay.
Yeah, you do big old rails of peroxide and it turns your hair orange.
Oh, that sounds so unhealthy for your hair.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just cut it all off the next summer anyway. So, and then just started over with, so I let that grow out. And then I started trying, I went to the grocery store or the pharmacy and just picked up like the $7 hair dye kits. And I went through like several colors in the late 80s, hair, clothing, everything was just, I mean, you've seen pictures of the 80s. You know what that's like.
Oof. Oh yeah.
They're all true. Gary, did you go to your Marine interview with that haircut, or did you have the buzz cut before you went for the interview?
So my younger brother was my recruiter. So he already, he knew, he knew what, what I was getting myself into and what,
Okay.
yeah. No, what was I saying about the hair and the thing?
Peroxide. You were saying you were talking about the process.
Yeah, and I went through a bunch of different things, and that snarl that Fozzie picked up on was probably because I listened to Billy Idol on repeat for a couple of years too, and That was
That
another
may
one.
well
So
do
you
it.
were imagining yourself as Billy Idol in that photo.
Fuck, Billy Idol was imagining himself as me. That's what was happening back in the 80s. No.
Goodness.
Yeah. Hello, Reptar.
Reptar, are you there?
Yeah, I see him in the blanket fort.
Is he lurking?
Yeah, he's up on a mountain somewhere, so I don't know if he's got
probably,
Wi-Fi.
He's probably hearing everything we say, but like with a 2-minute delay.
Come on, Gary, get with the game. He's not up on a mountain somewhere. He's in a little dark corner of the blanket fort. He's in here with us.
We're all in this together.
Don't say he's up a mountain somewhere. People will think like, we live all around the world or something stupid. They all think we're in one little room at the moment talking to each other.
That's true. People that are listening think that we've just crowded ourselves into the Blanket Fort studio.
Yeah, that's it.
It does sound
Hey,
like that.
Fozzie, pass the hummus and chips.
All right, so I want to keep talking
make
about
a crinkling noise. Nah.
since we are firmly entrenched in this rabbit hole. I want to kind of stay with it for a little bit, and keep talking about 80s pop culture and music for a bit, if you don't mind. And
Go for it.
And I know, Megan, your answer will be different because you didn't exist in the 80s. But what was y'all's first concert that you went to? One more time?
Can I take this question first?
I feel like you just swallowed a golf ball and you were trying to hack it up again or something.
Can I explain my weird noise?
Okay, yeah.
So, again, Maine is about 10 years behind the rest of the world, and under a rock where we only had like bunny ears on our TV. So, again, I mean, Maine was 10 years behind. I was probably a couple years behind Maine. I actually did not go to a real indoor concert. I mean, I have not gone to a real indoor concert. I went to my first outdoor concert after hiking the Appalachian Trail in 2014.
No kidding. Wow. Who'd you see?
I don't know. I bought something off of Craigslist, and the woman who I bought something from had some tickets, and she's like, "Hey, you want to go?" And I was like, "Sure."
Was it any good?
No, I mean, it was fun, but like, I didn't like the music.
Okay. Do you remember anything about it? Like how large was the venue? Were there a bunch of people there? Did they seem to be having a good time?
Other people seemed to be having a great time, because there was a lot of beer, and it was out in the Old Port in Portland. So right on the waterfront. There's a waterfront venue there. So it was very, very small, maybe like a couple hundred people. I mean, I'm horrible at guesstimating numbers of people, but it was probably like just a couple hundred people. It wasn't a big thing. Concert experience have been like going to folk music festivals with my dad, like as a child, being dragged along to those. So I don't think those count as concerts.
Okay. Yeah. So no idea who the band was. No idea.
No.
Okay.
I do remember.
No idea how many people were there. That's funny. You know,
a year later, I went to another concert there, and I actually know the name of the band for that one, and that one was Guster. But that's like, people know who Guster is. Who
is?
Guster? No,
Guster.
Nobody.
No.
Okay, well, it's an indie band.
Okay.
Another sort of thing where it was like, it was a very, very small concert, like same venue. It was like 200 people, maybe 300 on the waterfront. Like, by on the waterfront, I mean literally like on the pier where like boats were coming in and out. Or like fun summer concert venue in Portland, or was. I don't think they're doing it anymore.
I feel like Guster would be like a slightly harder version of the band Weezer.
It was actually, no. It's very, very like soft indie. Guster and In the Valley Below was there as well.
Okay.
Another indie band that nobody knows of.
All right. No, that's fine. That's
ever. That's why I made that weird snorting noise, because I haven't been to like a traditional concert where like you buy a ticket and you go in and you sit down, or you stand and there's like a mosh pit and there's thousands of people screaming and there's lights. Just, it never happened.
Okay. I just I just want to make sure that I'm getting all this right. That's all. I think it's neat that the same person who taught us the word bouge, is it bouge or bougie, earlier today?
Bougie.
Yeah. Your answer
Sure.
to what's your first concert is some band you've never heard of. I'm just making sure I'm getting all this right. That's all.
Sorry about that. Hey, someone out there, someone listening right now actually knows of Guster and knows all of these indie bands. There's some hipster out there who's like, I love indie bands too.
Okay. Booster put some Guster in the chat for us.
When you look in the mirror, wish you
That was a nice short clip.
Okay, there's Guster. Here, let's see what's this turn into. Okay. How about you, Fozzie? What was your first concert?
I can't remember which one came first, but it's a mix between, I think it was a band called OMD, which stands for Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark.
Whoa, no way.
You've heard of them?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember. I know it was in London. I can't remember the venue.
Dude, that was my first concert too.
Was it really?
I'm totally serious. Yeah.
Not in London, surely.
Well, no, in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow. What year was it?
Oh God.
It was 1986.
I would
when
have been
saw them.
17, I think. So 77, 80. I don't know, 83. No, 84, something like that. Probably 84, I think.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's wild.
But I did the other one, and I can't remember which one came first. I'm pretty sure it was only, but the other one was Simply Red. But I should say that I don't actually like Simply Red. The only reason I went to see Simply Red is because my sister and my cousin had a spare ticket and they dragged me along, but a band called Hue and Cry was supporting them, and I loved Hue and Cry. Have you ever heard of Hue and Cry?
No.
Okay, well, they were supporting Simply Red, so I kind of went to see Hue and Cry, not Simply Red. But I think it was OMD. I'm pretty sure it was Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark was the first one.
Yeah, when I saw them, they weren't the headliner. They were their opening for the Thompson Twins.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but I guess since they took the stage first, technically they were my first show.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Great band though.
Yeah, they were a pretty big name too. I think now that's not the band that did the music for Breakfast Club. That was that wasn't Simply Red either. Simple Minds. Simple Minds.
It could well have been possibly Simple Minds. Yeah. I can't remember much of the music for the Breakfast Club. Shine bleach years since I've seen it, but probably a lot of. Well, 80s, just a great decade for music, really.
It
I
is.
didn't appreciate it at the time. I just hated the music scene at the time, but looking back now, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I wouldn't say I hated. I hated.
Actually, that's the wrong word to use. I didn't hate it. There was a lot I didn't like. There was a hell of a lot I did like, but generally at the time, I thought, this isn't a great decade for music, but I do now.
The Talking Heads. The Cure they owned the 80s with a little bit of the 70s and the 90s on either side. Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff to come out of that decade. I just discovered Galaxy 500 a couple days ago and never even knew they existed. And they're primarily from the 80s. So
not heard of them, but
and it's spelled weird. It's Galaxy with an IE instead of a Y. And it's almost like, I guess what we would call now, what you would call dream pop. It kind of has like echoey vocals and jangling guitars, and it's not really down tempo, but you're not gonna burn any calories dancing to this stuff. It's just kind of like dreamy and jangly with like really echoey vocals. But they also they do covers of Sex Pistols songs. And New Order, and they write their own stuff too. But it's just weird, a different interpretation on what was happening musically at the time.
That's like a strange mix, but
yeah. How do you feel about Echo and the Bunnymen?
Yeah, I love Echo and the Bunnymen. Got them on my my music collection on my phone. Got MD on there. I started the thing. One of the things I didn't like about the 80s was the punk. I hated all the punk stuff. So I hated The Cure. I hated The Clash.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hated a lot of it. Well, most of it. Couldn't stand it. Love it now. I mean, there's still stuff I'm getting into, but yeah, that's kind of grown on me the last 10 years. It's a bizarre one. A bit of a late blossom to the punk scene.
Yeah, I was actually really into it in the 80s. About 10 years late, because the Sex Pistols were prevalent in the 70s, late 77, 78. But for me, it was contextual, and it really had a lot to do with that, like the feeling of rebellion and the anger and the energy that was behind it. My friends, my little, my high school equivalent of a trail family, the four tight friends who I always, strangely enough, our primary form of entertainment was going on long walks together. The four of us, we grew up in this small town that was just north of Pittsburgh, which up until recently was primarily known as an industrial town. A lot of, closed steel mills, kind of a poor, economically depressed area. So there wasn't really much going on during our teenage years, and there was no internet. We only had 3 channels on TV. So we would, really got into the whole punk rock scene. We didn't actually throw bricks through windows or spray paint garbage cans, but, that music allowed us to feel like we were, I guess, is kind of why we got into it at the time.
Yeah, it was very kind of anti sort of system thing. I was more of a new romantic myself. I was more of a Duran Duran Spandau Ballet kind of man. But we all make mistakes.
Yeah, well, we were musicians too, so it was that's really fun music to play. Especially you've got a lot of adrenaline as a teenager.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You think Voldemort has any idea what we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes?
I wonder.
I understand the concept of punk.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of talking about the bands more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, The Cure and The Clash, yes, I've heard of those bands, and I'm pretty sure I've heard some of their songs before. And Duran Duran, but I don't know, I can't name a song. Saved my life.
Cool.
Did you say Squirrels on Film?
What?
Squirrels on Film.
What is that?
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm saying Squirrels on Film, which is not a real Duran Duran song. Katie and I went through a big Duran Duran phase about 4 or 5 years ago where we just had it on repeat for days, for weeks. And every time Girls on Film would come on, we would sing it as Squirrels on Film because we're funny. So let me ask you this, Megan, while you're looking something up, while Falsey and I were waxing philosophic about punk rock, even though you didn't know specifically who we were talking about and familiar with the details, was it at least somewhat interesting? Did we completely waste your time?
You didn't completely waste my time because I was also messaging in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, so all right. we provided. Okay, we were the background while you were distracted. I understand.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna point out something in the chat. Something Maine again because I'm from Maine. But Gazelle in the chat said that somewhere in here said that if she said Rick Charette, I would be the only one who knows who that is. Who Rick Charette is? Nope. So he's a children's singer-songwriter, and I Love Mud song. Nope. Nobody?
No, I have no clue.
I wish I could play it in the chat, but it was it's a song that just says mud, mud, I love mud. I absolutely positively something about mud. I don't know, whatever, but it goes on. And the funny thing is it says, it's like Leave No Trace. I didn't realize this. It's like Leave No Trace ethics for kids because it says you can't go around it. You can't go over it. Can't go under it. You have to go through it, which is exactly what you're supposed to do on the trail.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, I learned Leave No Trace as a 4-year-old. Thinking about mud. So thanks, Rick Charette.
Good story.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Nobody's going to get that. That's where everyone else just kind of like their eyes glaze over.
I was
And
trying.
they're all looking in the chat at something else now.
I was trying so hard for us to have an entire episode where we didn't talk about anything hiking related, and you ruined it.
I know. How do I play a song for like in the
It looks
For
like
the
what
recording. Can I
everybody's
do that?
doing is just posting YouTube links in the chat, and then if you do that, I'll play it, and I think everyone can hear it when I do. Right? You guys can hear.
Can you play the Rick Charette one, the I Love Mud song, please?
Yeah, sure. Tell me, can you guys hear this?
You know I couldn't get enough of
Okay.
it. How many of you
Is this
love
it?
mud? Let's see if you do. Mud. Oh, whoa. I'm absolutely, positively wild about mud. I can't go around.
I would just like to point out that the average audience member is 7 years old.
I've got to go through it. Beautiful, fabulous, super. Let's do it again. Ready?
Wow, that kid's really into it. He's lip syncing and bouncing around and. Okay, all right. Are you good? Do you need to hear more?
Well, I mean, I only heard it like in and out,
When he
but
heard his
I
father
mean,
call, mud. Oh, you know every word. I'm absolutely, positively wild about mud.
Might
I
listen to some
can't
Gus.
go around it. I've got to go through it. Beautiful, fabulous, super duper mud.
We should have had that song playing when Muddy Moose was on the show.
yeah. Talking about leave no trace ethics.
All right, I'm
Oh.
glad I played the Mud song.
Yeah,
Are
thank
we
you.
allowed to have an entire program where we don't talk about hiking, just out of curiosity?
We're allowed to do whatever we want.
I mean, I'm
Pretty
not.
sure.
It doesn't bother me. I'm quite happy to talk about whatever. But I'm just thinking, as it's kind of a hiking podcast.
You think the hiking gods are going to somehow frown upon us?
I don't know. I think we might be cursed.
We have no hiking overlords. Hike your own hike, Fozzie.
Okay,
Podcast your own podcast.
I mean,
Here we go.
I guess
we'll do that.
I guess the real test will be how many people listen to episode number 51.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What are you going to call the
Reptar,
episode,
no, your
Will?
mic is not on.
You know what you're going to call do you know what you're going to call the this podcast yet, Gary?
This
You
one,
do
no,
that?
I
Yeah.
really have no idea.
It'll be a difficult one.
You know what we should call it? We should call it because we have like our first episode is our worst episode ever. We should call this one not our worst episode ever.
Oh, hey, we could mess with people and just call it our last episode ever,
Oh, that's mean.
and then just don't make any more posts and nothing, and then like a week later, you're like, oh, hey, here's
close the Facebook group.
some guy.
Go
who-
dark.
Yeah. That would be that would be like an April Fool's thing, but
Yeah, that's more April Fools. We
yeah,
can't do that.
I wouldn't want to do
Reptar, you have to hit the mute button, the microphone thing. I mean, I know you know how to work it, but I still see the microphone thing.
Let me make sure that I don't have him system muted.
It looks like he's making an attempt.
Let's-
Oh,
there
hey,
we go. Reptar, hello.
Reptar.
There we go.
Hey,
Hey, wow.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear,
We
sir.
can hear you.
Hell yeah. Oh my god. I'm hiking up this huge ass hill right now. Hold on one second.
Uh-oh. He's got second chance hiker voice.
You know, we were joking
Oh,
about
no, don't
Reptar
tell me
not
that.
actually being on the trail.
Don't tell
He
me
said he's
that.
hiking up
No.
this huge ass. It's an escalator, isn't it, Reptar? You're at a mall. Not actually up now.
he sounds like some sort of alien.
I know, it's kind of neat when that happens.
Perhaps he is.
Oh, he sounds like a robot, a broken robot.
Poor Reptar.
I don't know what he's doing, but he sounds
Can
good.
that be the intro? Reptar responding to us saying we can't hear him going, oh, but with like the robotic sound because it's cutting out. It's
100%.
like, oh.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh.
A drowning robot. That's funny.
Yeah, he does sound like a drowning robot.
Chris Benson.
Thank you,
in the
Chris
chat.
Benson. That is exactly what he sounds like right now.
Fozzie, you said something earlier. I think it was today or yesterday, or I can't remember, when we were emailing back and forth with Reptar and Megan. We were just kind of talking about what we wanted to do this week, and obviously nobody had any ideas. But no, one of the things that we're talking about doing for an upcoming episode was going back and doing another film shakedown, similar to what we did with A Walk in the Woods. And I think it's a really good idea. I had a great time not only recording that episode, but preparing for it. And, I'll be honest. So sometimes, Megan, I go back and listen to the show. I'll go back and find old episodes that I like and I'll listen to them just for fun. It's weird being in the episode and editing it and hearing it with a critical ear like 5 or 6 times. I almost never listen to the final product until 2 or 3 days after it goes out. But the Walk in the Woods episode, I think I've played that one just 3 times just because it cracks me up so much. And I had so much fun making it. But Fozzie suggested in our most recent email conversation that we do this again for the movie Wild. What do you think?
I think that is a perfect movie to do a critical review of.
Do we know if it is available streaming anywhere? Because I kind of like, for people listening, I think they enjoy it more if they hear it, or if they watch the movie first. Let's find out.
Yeah, you can stream Wild on YouTube, Amazon Prime, Google Play, iTunes, and Vudu.
Harry, it was you that made the suggestion of Wild, not arguing with who made the suggestion or whatever. My suggestion was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, that's right.
In keeping with the current trend of non-hiking themes, we could put that over to the movies and do a non-hiking movie, maybe.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, Megan, have you ever seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
That's the one with the car that gets driven out of the garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And yeah, but like a long time ago.
Oh man. So, that's. I'm kind of glad that you haven't seen that. Or that
the only thing I know about that movie is the GIF Bueller.
Oh, that's right. Ben Stein as the
Yes.
economics teacher.
Yeah, I know that because my boss has sent that GIF in a group text message. He sent a group text message asking a question, and then 5 seconds later, before anyone had a chance to even read his text and respond, he sent that GIF because he was being impatient.
Your boss sounds like he's either a funny guy or impatient.
Oh, hilarious. He's very funny.
Okay, good.
He's patient. Yeah. Oh no, it was all in jest. Everyone laughed.
So this email that Fozzie replied to earlier today, when he suggested Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I have to admit, I thought we kind of need to do that too, but I don't really want to. I don't want to do too many episodes of Stories from the Trail that aren't hiking related.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I wonder, can we think of enough 80s movies to just start like a separate podcast where all we do is watch and review movies?
Oh, mate,
well, considering I haven't seen many 80s movies.
Say again, Fozzie?
I said you'd be going for years, 80s movies. The podcast would last for years. We'd have to hand it down to someone when we die and everything.
It really would.
And I've seen maybe like next to no 80s movies. So, I mean, you know this. I don't get a lot of pop culture references. So we could really keep this thing going. I mean, we all know you guys are going to die before me. So I'll keep it going.
I mean, and we Yeah. So I see Reptar again, but I don't know if we're gonna get Reptar the drowning robot or actual Reptar. I don't even know if we want to try, and I'm just kind of stalling.
I don't see the green circle. Like he's not attempting.
Oh, no.
And then he's gone.
We just scared him away.
Hey Gary, I have a question for you.
What is your question, Megan?
Met Olivia Newton-John and a couple other celebrities that I've never heard of. But who's the most famous person you've met?
You. No. Let's see. The most famous person I ever met would have to be I met Oliver North. He's pretty famous.
Type that in. So I don't know who these people are.
Oliver North? Oh boy. Oliver North is the guy who basically took the fall for Ronald Reagan in the Iran-Contra scandal, and now he's like a Fox News contributor or something. It was some Marine Corps event, and he had just written a book, and I got to shake his hand and talk to him for a while. That was pretty fun at the time. Let's see. I saw Christopher Walken at a museum in Washington D.C., but I didn't go up and say hi because he looked like he was trying to enjoy the museum. You don't know. Oh, here's one. You don't know who this person is. The bass player for Sonic Youth pushed me out of the way at a concert in Pittsburgh once. That was pretty cool.
I've heard of Sonic Youth, but I can't think of a song.
Yeah. Kim Gordon shoved me at the Electric Banana. I think that's where we were. I forget
Electric Banana.
See, I know that's a club that was big in Pittsburgh. This was in the late 80s, early 90s.
Everything was called all nightclubs were called the Electric something in the 80s and 90s. The Electric Banana.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty on theme.
Yeah. And I went there with my roommate from college, and we hung out at some girl's house afterwards, and it was a good time. Let's see, who else? What other famous person? I know I've met somebody famous. Miss Janet, of course.
Yes. I mean, I've met Miss Janet. Hey, Fozzie, what about you?
I don't honestly think I've ever met anyone that's famous. I saw someone that was famous once, but I honestly don't think I've actually met and kind of said anything to.
But if you saw someone, who was the person you saw from a distance?
I don't know if you've heard of him either. He was very kind of English orientated. Chris Eubanks, the boxer. You might have heard of him.
I don't know who that is. Not because I'm not familiar with British people, but
Chris Eubanks. He was I think he was a flyer or a featherweight boxer. Not that I was into boxing, and I'm going back probably 15 to 20 years. But I remember I was eating in a restaurant in Brighton where he used to live. And this huge black Range Rover just kind of pulled out, and he got out, and I just kind of did a double take, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Chris Eubank. And then he walked off. He kind of he's got a bit of a eclectic fashion sense. Like you often see him walking around with an umbrella and an eye monocle. Is it a monocle? One glass over
Yes,
the eye?
that's a monocle.
Yes. And kind of like a checkered suit or something like that. He was quite not quirky. Extravagant, just had an interesting fashion sense.
Eccentric.
Yeah, eccentric's a good word for it, yeah. You met David Miller?
Yeah, that's a picture of us at the AT kickoff in 2016, I think, which would have been the first one that I went to after my book was published. And this is one of my, the most famous person I met story. Was meeting David AWOL Miller, and here's why this moment was special to me, because I'm pretty sure that he had probably seen maybe it was the before and after picture or something, but Katie and I were at the kickoff, and we had just got there. The event started the following morning, and we were in the lodge, the restaurant that has the big windows that look out onto Oglethorpe and the valley below. We're sitting there in the restaurant, and I see AWOL come in, and I lean over to Katie, and I poke her with my elbow, and I'm like, look, that's David Miller, that's AWOL. And he goes over to the buffet, and he fills up his plate, and he sits down at his, or he puts his plate down at his table, and instead of sitting down, he keeps walking. And oh my God, he's coming towards us. He's walking right towards our table. And he sticks his hand out and he goes, "Are you Gary Sizer?"
Oh, did you fangirl, Gary?
I wet myself a little. But it was one of those moments where, like this guy who, I read his book, like way, long before I ever hiked the trail and even had the idea to write one myself. So it was just like AWOL was just like the man. I carried so we've met and we've actually talked a few times, and it's kind of weird. Like the AT kickoff is one of those things like trail days that kind of like level sets the hiking community, where you come out of something like that going, oh, we're all like the same. Like there's no, like the starstruck thing goes away real fast. You're just like, oh, that's David.
We're all on the same level.
Yeah, that's Larry. That's Gary. Like we're all just kind of like, we've all shit in holes in the woods,
Guys, guess what? We went almost an entire episode without talking about poo.
We almost did it.
So close, but we didn't
So
quite get
close,
there.
guys. It's 8:23, 7 minutes to go, and
we almost did it. Megan, you have a hard stop at 8:30, right?
yeah, just about.
Okay. So
It's over, but I'd rather not.
yeah, I understand how that goes. I think I actually set a timer for this week to get pizza in the oven. I think we did a really good job of not talking about hiking tonight, which
we did.
Which really, it actually didn't happen on purpose. But as the hour drew near, I thought, I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to have a whole show.
Well, sometimes when you show up with no plan, just just let things go. It ends up being pretty good.
Well, riddled me this. When's the last time that we all just like hung out?
Yeah.
Ever?
Great question, because even when we were at trail days, it was that's trail stuff.
Work is the poop. Job's done. We kind of talk. We kicked this idea around in a half joking manner, and I wonder how many people would actually listen to a podcast where people, like maybe two people who actually lived through the 80s, watch movies with either millennials or younger, or just people from some generation who may be born after the 80s, maybe two people from that generation, and the four of them virtually watch a movie together and then talk about it in similar way to what we did with A Walk in the Woods.
There is a podcast called Rediscover the 80s.
Yeah, but I don't know any of those people and I don't like them. They're not invited.
They're not invited.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because we kind of do a lot already. I mean, we want to put one more thing on our plate. I don't know. I was thinking about it for the last couple of days since that email came in, that it would be kind of a fun side project to get into, but with
specifically about the 80s.
Yeah, like specifically like 80s movies, like you.
So you came into this knowing that this was going to be an 80s podcast.
No, I didn't. I had I seriously had no idea what we were going to talk about tonight. But I like that it all kind of ties.
Your subconscious steering it towards the 80s because that's where your brain wants to be.
It almost feels like the universe is telling us this is a thing we have to do. But I wonder who's our fourth young person going to be.
You need another millennial.
Yeah, and Reptar's got a life and friends, so maybe not Reptar.
Where is Reptar anyway? You said he's in a tent. He's obviously hiking. Do we know where he is, or?
So the last we heard from him was what, Oregon somewhere? Let's check the email.
Check the email, because he had I think he put a place in. I'll have reception in the Trinity Alps area come showtime. So he's in the Trinity Alps area.
He's on the PCT.
Yes, sir.
Is he doing the whole thing?
He's finishing
a section.
Yeah, I think he was scheduled to spend, 6 or 8 weeks on the trail?
Yeah, he's finishing up what he has not previously done.
Isn't Trinity Alps just after Shasta? I'd be amazed if I got that right. Is that right? Just after Shasta?
You're the only one
You're
on
asking
tonight
people
who's
who
done
have
that.
not hiked the PCT.
Yeah, you're the expert now, Fozzie. Shit, we're lost.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah, we don't know. We're making this up as we go.
I should know, but I seem to remember it's after Shasta. I could be wrong. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, that's good. He's hiking. He's on the PCT. That's good.
You know who would be a fun fourth voice on a 80s movie podcast would be
Watch.
Actually, I was thinking Daniel's wife, Deidre.
A lot about the 80s?
Yeah. Well, because she is super, super into pop culture.
Well, yeah, she knows like everything pop culture. She's always making references that I don't understand.
Yeah, but she wasn't there. So
really?
We can
references you don't understand, like orchestral maneuvers in the dark and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I think she was born in the 90s or maybe the late 80s. I think she wasn't around to actually experience those movies first.
I have no idea how old Deirdre and Daniel are.
Yeah, but and Fozzie, maybe you can relate to this. Once we get to, are you 50 yet, or you're close, right? you're slightly past.
He's laughing because he's probably in his 50s.
Are you slightly past your expiration date?
No, not at all. I feel like I'm just getting started. I'm 51. I'm nearly 52.
Okay.
52 in a couple of months.
Okay. What was I going to say?
I think it's 52. I can't remember.
Oh, I remember. Oh, yeah. Is it right around this time you start forgetting things?
Oh no!
Speaking of forgetting things, Fozzie, I don't quite know if I'm turning 52.
No, what I was
the greatest thing is that neither of you understood what just happened.
Yes, I do.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah. The memory does kind of.
Memory's getting a little older, guys. How you doing over there?
That's why I record everything.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't feel 51. That's the important thing. So,
what I was trying to say is like somewhere like right around like if you were alive to experience the 80s as Fozzie and I were, today you have a really hard time looking at someone and telling how old they are. That's what I was getting at.
I have a hard time looking at someone and telling how old they are.
Yeah, but I feel like as you approach 50, that's when you start really losing that ability. Fozzie, is it just me or?
You mean any age or just kind of people younger?
Really,
you mean any age?
Yeah, like younger people. Like I have a hard time distinguishing someone who is in their mid 30s from someone who's in their mid 20s. And I often I see college kids. I see people who are in college and think they're teenagers. Just because you
see young people driving like who just got their licenses and you're like, oh my God, that kid stole a car.
Yes.
Because I'm even doing that and I'm not that far removed. That was me only 10 years ago.
I don't know if I've really thought about it, Gary, to be honest. I suppose if I sort of think about people when between the sort of ages of 20 to early 30s, they kind of look, I suppose, all the same age. There's sort of variance, but generally those sort of 20 to younger 30s, they all kind of look the same age, really. It's not kind of to your late 30s where kind of the aging thing sort of starts to show.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know, obviously.
What were we talking about?
They're talking about people looking up, being unable to distinguish people's age by their appearance.
That's what I say.
I can't make myself sound like an old lady.
Your words take care of that for you. You say old lady things.
Did I say old lady things? Perfect.
Yeah.
Do I say old lady things like dope AF and bougie?
Bougie. Yep.
Can you believe that someday people who made up the word like bougie, dope AF.
All right, here's my
people who are saying that stuff. They're going to be grandparents someday.
Here's my impression,
and they're going to be saying that stuff.
Here's my impression of somebody's grandma visiting a millennial who just furnished their apartment for the first time.
Oh, God.
You ready? Wow, your Davenport is lit.
I don't understand it. That's an American thing. That's gone way over my head.
No, Fozzie, that one went way under. That didn't.
So I had to Google Davenport, but I got the lit part.
That's the idea. Half of the audience has to Google half of the joke.
Yeah, I love that. We should do more jokes like that.
We should.
Where you you kind of get it, but at the same time you're like, I need to just double check to make sure I'm laughing at the right thing.
There will be plenty of jokes like that and more on our new podcast, RadFlix, coming to a podcast app near you.
Oh my God, that's a perfect name for it. Oh, we even have a name for our 80s movie podcast?
RadFlix.
RadFlix.
Okay.
Dang it, now we have to do it.
All right. I think we may have just witnessed the birth of a thing.
Oh
boy.
God.
I'll start looking into domain names and get a list of movies. I'll start a.
Maybe we could get sponsored by like MTV or VH1.
I bet we'll get tons of cease and desist letters from all the big names.
Oh yeah, probably.
No, I'll seriously, I'll think about that. I'll think about it. Like maybe like once a month, like no strict, production schedule like we have here. Just kind of like a fun thing to like do on the side. Like once a month, we'll watch an 80s movie and just talk about it.
I think that's a good idea.
Podcast
Once
feed
a
up
month.
there.
That's something that can be scheduled in.
All right.
Trinity Alps is about 60 miles north of the town of Shasta, according to Chris. Thanks for that, Chris.
All right. Well, now we know where Reptar is. Supposedly.
Nice area, as I remember.
Everyone run into the woods and find Reptar and help him sound not like a robot.
A drowning robot.
A drowning robot.
I am not programmed to swim. That was my drowning robot.
A good drowning robot.
All right. Well,
Reptar does a better one.
Do we have a closing for a show that didn't really have a topic?
Thanks everyone for showing up. This was fun.
Yeah, this
Happy
was a lot of
50th
fun.
Episode of Stories from the Trail.
I really enjoyed.
We love not talking about hiking.
I got an idea for our episode title. 0 Day.
Oh, I like that. This was a 0 day.
There were no miles hiked during this episode.
There was a total of poop miles hiked.
That's right. We talked about something, didn't do shit. 0 day.
Perfect.
Cool. Good night, everybody.
Night.
All right, that's a wrap.
Wow, I feel like I should say at the end of that, I wanted to say, and scene.
You just did.
Like, I don't know. I pictured someone who's very dramatic doing the hand thing. You know what I'm doing? You can picture the hand thing,
the
right?
little clapper thing that they go where they in front
No,
of
the very dramatic, like you start with your hands together and then like bring them all your fingers open and then bring your fingers together.
like a namaste or like a flourish.
No. Stephen Colbert does it a ton.
Is it like you're trying to swat, like you're surrounded by moths and you're trying to flick them away with?
I'm just gonna try to find a GIF.
Katie just came in and showed me the motion.
Katie, thank you. She gets it.
Yeah, there's even your pinky is in for the end of this, right?
Okay, guys, I've got to sleep, so I'm going to go to bed. It was fun. See you again soon.
Thank you so much, Fozzie. Let's
Fozzie.
have a real conversation about hiking in 2 weeks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
Toodle,
I think it's
Toodles.
Toodle bye.
time to head out too.
Okay. Thanks for hanging out with me
that's
for
cute.
the weirdest episode ever. Good night, everybody.
Night. That I fell asleep.
You were having such a wonderful, relaxing evening at home, and then Stories from the Trail came along and ruined it all.